Long before the world knew the complexities of modern legal systems, before the ink of constitutions and the intricate web of statutes and regulations, there stood a great city on the banks of the Euphrates River. This was Babylon, a center of culture, power, and innovation in ancient Mesopotamia. In the heart of this thriving civilization, nearly 4,000 years ago, a king named Hammurabi ascended to the throne. His reign would mark a turning point in human history, not just for his military conquests or the splendor of his capital, but for a legacy that would stretch across millennia, the creation of one of mankind's very first written codes of law. Hammurabi ruled Babylon from approximately 1792 to 1750 BCE. During this era, the world was a place of city-states and empires, of shifting alliances and frequent conflicts. Life in Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, was shaped by the unpredictable forces of nature and the constant struggle for survival. Yet, amidst these uncertainties, the people of Babylon sought order, a way to resolve disputes, protect property, and bring stability to daily life. The idea of law was not new. Societies had unwritten customs, tribal rules, and kingly decrees for generations. But what set Hammurabi apart was his determination to create a single, unified code written for all to see that would apply equally, at least in theory, to everyone under his rule. This was a revolutionary concept, that laws should be clear, public, and consistent, not whispered in the halls of power or subject to the whims of the mighty. Hammurabi's code was inscribed in cuneiform script on a tall black basalt stele, nearly 8 feet high. At its top, a carving depicted the king standing before Shamash, the Babylonian god of justice, receiving the laws as if by divine authority. Below this divine scene, the laws themselves were chiseled into stone, a testament to their permanence and importance. The code comprises 282 laws covering a wide array of topics: trade, family, labor, property, theft, debt, marriage, divorce, and personal injury, among others. Each law is written in a simple, direct style, often stating a situation and the consequence that follows. For example, if a man breaks another man's bone, his bone shall be broken. This principle of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, is known as lex talionis, or the law of retaliation. It may seem severe by modern standards, but it was intended to curb cycles of vengeance and ensure proportional justice. At the heart of Hammurabi's code is the quest for fairness, at least as it was understood in ancient Babylonia. The laws recognize the differences among people, distinguishing between free citizens, commoners, and slaves, and prescribe different penalties depending on social status. This reflects the deeply hierarchical nature of Babylonian society, but also acknowledges the importance of settling disputes without endless feuds or violence. Consider, for example, the code's approach to commerce. Babylon was a bustling center of trade, and the laws address matters such as contracts, loans, and interest rates. Traders and merchants could refer to the code to resolve disagreements and ensure the fair exchange of goods. The code even includes provisions for building contracts, holding builders accountable for the safety of the houses they constructed. If a house collapsed and caused the death of the owner, the builder could be put to death. If it killed the owner's son, the builder's son could be executed. As harsh as these penalties may seem, they underscored the seriousness of professional responsibility and the value of human life. Family life, too, was regulated by the code. Laws addressed marriage arrangements, inheritance rights, and the duties of husbands and wives. Adultery, divorce, and adoption were all given clear legal boundaries. By codifying these matters, Hammurabi sought to bring order and predictability to the intimate affairs of his people. The code also provided for the protection of the weak and vulnerable, at least within the framework of its time. Widows, orphans, and the poor were given certain legal rights, and judges were instructed to act with integrity, facing severe penalties if they accepted bribes or rendered unjust decisions. The king's commitment to justice was not merely a matter of personal honor. It was the foundation of his legitimacy as ruler, a sacred trust bestowed by the gods. Of course, Hammurabi's code also reflects the harsh realities and inequalities of ancient society. Slavery was accepted and regulated, and punishments could be brutal. Yet, compared to the arbitrary rule of earlier eras, the code represented a significant step forward, a move toward transparency, accountability, and the rule of law. What made Hammurabi's code so remarkable was not just its content, but its form. By carving the laws into stone and placing the stele in a public place, the king declared that the law was above any individual, including himself. No longer would justice depend solely on the mood or memory of a judge or the power of the accused. Instead, everyone could see the rules by which society was governed. For the people of Babylon, the code was both a shield and a sword. It protected the weak from the strong, while also reminding all citizens of their duties and obligations. In this way, Hammurabi's code helped to bind together a diverse and often fractious population, transforming Babylon into a model of order and prosperity. Over time, the influence of Hammurabi's code spread far beyond the borders of Babylon. The idea of written laws became central to later civilizations, from the Hittites to the Persians, from the Greeks to the Romans. The concept that a society should be governed by laws, clear, public, and consistent, became a cornerstone of Western legal tradition. Today, fragments of Hammurabi's code can be found in the Louvre Museum in Paris, where the great basalt stele stands as a silent witness to a distant age. Scholars pore over its lines, deciphering the cuneiform script and marveling at the sophistication of its provisions. But the true significance of the code lies not in its individual laws, but in the bold vision it represents: that justice is not a gift to be bestowed, but a right to be upheld; that society can only flourish when its people know where they stand. In the centuries that followed, many rulers would draw inspiration from Hammurabi's achievement. The Hebrew Bible's laws, the Roman 12 tables, and the legal systems of countless other cultures bear the imprint of that ancient Babylonian stele. The notion that laws should be written and known, not secret and arbitrary, is one of the great legacies of Hammurabi's reign. Of course, time would bring change. Laws would evolve, reflecting the shifting values and complexities of new civilizations. But the spirit of Hammurabi's code endures, the belief that justice is the foundation of order and that the written word can serve as a bulwark against chaos. In reflecting on Hammurabi's code, it is tempting to focus on its most famous lines, the stark formulas of retaliation, and the rigid distinctions of class. Yet, to do so is to miss the deeper lesson. Hammurabi's great innovation was not just in the details of his laws, but in his recognition of the need for law itself, for a system that could bridge the gap between ruler and subject, between the strong and the weak, between chaos and civilization. The story of Hammurabi's code is, at its core, the story of humanity's search for justice. It is a chapter in the long journey from might to right, from arbitrary power to the rule of law. In the shadows of ancient Babylon, amid the bustling markets and the solemn temples, men and women learned that there could be order in the world, not just the order of kings, but the order of laws known to all. As we look back across the centuries, Hammurabi's code stands as a monument to human ingenuity and aspiration. It reminds us that the quest for justice is as old as civilization itself, and that the written law, for all its imperfections, remains one of our greatest achievements. In every society that values fairness, accountability, and the protection of rights, there echoes the spirit of that ancient stele, a reminder that justice, once carved in stone, can shape the destiny of nations. From the banks of the Euphrates to the halls of modern courts, Hammurabi's vision endures, challenging each generation to hold fast to the promise of the law, that all are equal before its words, and that justice, tempered by wisdom, is the truest foundation of a just and lasting peace.